my future colleagues in neurosurgery, I want to say welcome. My name is Michael Lim, and I am the chair of neurosurgery here at Stanford. While I wish we could be meeting you in person, we are living in unprecedented times. And so we created this video to give you a glimpse of our program. With this video, we are going to highlight 4 components of our program: the clinical, research, and educational experience, and the culture of our program.
Our Stanford Neurosurgery department currently consists of about 60 full-time faculty. That includes 34 neurosurgeons and 22 scientists. Many of our neurosurgeons are also surgeon scientists, and we are currently number 2 in the country for NIH funding alone among more than 100 neurosurgery programs. We have 3 residents a year that we take, so our current complement is 21 residents. We also have a few fellows in different areas who are very involved in teaching residents. They really act more like junior attendings. We have a number of nurses and APPs who help out. We cover 5 hospitals. That includes the Adult Hospital, Stanford Healthcare, Lucile Packard Children's Hospital, fully dedicated pediatric hospital, our county hospital, Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, our VA hospital, and we rotate residents to Kaiser Hospital. We do more than 5,000 operative cases a year at all these facilities that the residents are involved in. We have built the department according to subspecialization so that we have subspecialists in every area of neurosurgery, even including peripheral nerve, and we have at least 2 subspecialists in each area. We have designed the program so that the residents have a graduated, increasing level of responsibility and independence over the 7 years that they're here. We encourage free thinking, innovation, and entrepreneurship here.
I still remember applying to residency over a decade ago, and in my opinion, this is one of the best programs in the country. I have enjoyed it so much that I was here for medical school, residency, fellowship, and faculty now, and I find it to be a very special place.
Well, when I was looking at residency programs, I knew I wanted to pick a place where I would have an extremely rigorous operative training, but also have the ability to engage in basic science research as a resident. And that really attracted me to Stanford. That was also combined with the outstanding culture here between the faculty and the residents, and I think those 3 aspects melded together really cemented the opportunity for me here.
Education is one of the most important missions of our department. We are incredibly proud of our residents and our residencies. Every week, residents have protected time away from clinical duties to be able to partake in educational activities. We are also excited to be incorporating in leadership development programs. From the moment you start as an intern, you look to as a leader, and we want to make sure you have those skills for the future.
It's really awesome to work with the residents here and the fellows. I'm really passionate about figuring out ways for us to improve our tracking and our care for our spine patients. So right now we use a lot of surveys to track how our patients do before and after spine surgery, and I think that that's fundamentally a flawed system. And so through working with some of our awesome residents here and in a biodesign program, which is actually a joint program between the School of Medicine, the Center of Design, which I participated in this past year, which was absolutely phenomenal. I had an opportunity to kind of think about this project from both an engineering and a business perspective. So I want a really fast, easy way for us to objectively track our spine patients, and takes advantage of all of the consumer wearable technologies that we have to better understand how we're doing every day.
The fact that Gary Steinberg was injecting stem cells into the brain for helping the recovery in stroke patients, and then to take that also to spinal cord injury. Development of the Accuray CyberKnife system by John Adler. Really, the fact that he was here at Stanford and was able to draw on people from across the street in the undergraduate university and the professional engineering department to develop that linear accelerator that could give this cruise missile technology, as he calls it, to deliver lethal radiation to brain tumors. Only that could happen at Stanford.
We're looking for residents that are enthusiastic, engaged, excited to be here every day, and just open to learning. I don't expect you to come in knowing how to do neurosurgery. That's our job to train you. But I want residents that are excited to be here and excited to learn.
The learning curve is steep, but luckily you have a very supportive team. So their growth is phenomenal during the first year. My philosophy is to nurture their independence, to really make them feel, perhaps for the first time, feel like a surgeon.
I think it's excellent for our residents when they come here because they are the chief resident on the service, so they get to get ownership of the service. They get to directly be involved in patient care and make the decisions. It's a steep learning curve, but I think by the end of the rotation here, they are in a great position to take care of these patients, to manage them, and even manage them remotely sometimes. And you are always, of course, to assist on every procedure because you are the chief resident, you are the neurosurgery resident involved.
Stanford is a world-class research institution, and you will have access to the wealth of resources and people at Stanford to carry out your academic pursuits. In our department alone, we support 30 researchers, one of whom is a Nobel Prize laureate. Our department is one of the highest NIH-funded departments in the country, and our residents have won prestigious awards, fellowships, and grants. In addition, Stanford has a true culture of innovation, and given its proximity to Silicon Valley, our residents have gotten patents and formed companies from their work. The research possibilities here at Stanford are truly limitless.
I came to Stanford because of cutting-edge research in neuroscience here. I was on the East Coast before in a hospital system. We didn't have the university. And the great attraction of Stanford is that the engineering school is right here, the physics school, all sorts of university faculty who are experts in their area. And the fact that I can collaborate with them and really advance the field is tremendous. So I brought eye tracking to concussion for diagnosis. All the Pac-12 schools now use it. I came initially to Stanford, we used it the football team, and then all the athletes started using it. I'm very much involved in research on traumatic brain injury. I'm also president of the Brain Trauma Foundation. We do the national guidelines for traumatic brain injury, pre-hospital, adult, and pediatric. We're always maintaining them, and we're just coming out with one on decompressive craniectomy. We're also funded by the military to define concussion and do concussion guidelines, which we just published in neurosurgery. So we're doing a lot of work on concussion and coma being severe TBI. And with the residents, we operate on patients with severe TBI, a lot of decompressive craniectomies, ICP monitoring, neuro-ICU care.
Probably the most important tool that residents can get during their training involves protected time to be able to do research and to have practice in writing grants if they're interested in academic medicine. That training is very well supported by the R25 that we have had here established at Stanford for over a decade. That enables the residents both to choose a project, to write a grant, to support the project, and to have the protected time that they need to see that project to completion.
The number of tools that are available here at Stanford to work with, whether it be the quantitative sciences unit within the Department of Internal Medicine, where we have a very strong relationship, population health sciences, also kind of an offshoot of internal medicine, where we have been partners in their database acquisition and development for like years. The Health Research and Policy Group, Graduate School of Business, and like the team members that are over there, just the number and like breadth of potential collaborators that are around this campus, it's crazy. It's like the number of people here, just it boggles the imagination.
Your first and foremost goal as a neurosurgery resident, no matter where you end up, is to become the best technical neurosurgeon that you can. And really to master the breadth of general neurosurgery.
I think people going to neurosurgery want to be good surgeons and good neurosurgeons. And for the operative experiences, I think we have both the depth and breadth in terms of clinical experiences and training that you can get as a resident, but also see some of the most advanced cases that you might not be able to see elsewhere.
Even what we call the NeuroTrain Center is Neurosurgical Innovation and Training Center. The goal of this is to first to train the next generation of neurosurgeons in the understanding and deep knowledge of surgical anatomy, which is the key, as you know, of becoming a better surgeon. So we do research on classical anatomical dissections, but we also do research using latest technologies like virtual reality simulation, computer programs to see, for example, fiber tracks, and plan surgical operations for brain tumors that way. Stanford is a unique environment. It's a very exciting, stimulating and supportive environment, very motivating, and I think it has everything a resident would want in a residency program.
And we're good to go.
So probably the biggest strength of our neurosurgery program is actually our operative training. I'm heading into my chief year, and really, I feel like I've just gone through a sort of neurosurgery finishing school, and I have another whole year where I get to just fine-tune, high-level skills on challenging cases. Every step along the way, I feel like there's been a measured approach to advancing me appropriately, making sure I learn the things I need to learn, and then really letting me sort of come into my own as a surgeon.
We really have, I think, every single subspecialty of neurosurgery pretty comprehensively covered. I really feel like, in addition to the broad training that Alan discussed, I also have the opportunity to kind of come out of training with almost a subspecialty focus. I've been absolutely thrilled with the experience here.
The most kind of precious commodity right now in programs across the country is open vascular experience, and we're one of the few programs where that's being preserved. Our outgoing chair, Dr. Steinberg, is one of the busiest open cerebrovascular neurosurgeons around. And so he's constantly running 2 rooms twice a week plus pediatric cases. That's the critical thing about cerebrovascular. It's not just, do you have an open vascular training? It's, do you have complex open vascular training with a senior mentor who can teach you these things that our generation is not going to get as well trained as our predecessors. So that's really important and special and unique about our program.
For me, coming to Stanford was my number one priority in choosing any residency was that I wanted to be a great clinician and a great surgeon. And I think that's been really fostered here at Stanford. As a whole, especially in our department, and spine has an entrepreneurial spirit, and what that means for the operative experience is that we do get exposed to all the different vendors that are involved in this field, whether it be through their instrumentation, through imaging, through surgical planning and robotics based on the patient need.
At Stanford, we want great residents, just like every other program. Hardworking, honest. We want to make sure you love to operate, because that's the carrot to get you through all of this. But I think something that makes us really unique is that everyone here is incredibly self-motivated. We have kind of the problem where there's so many choices, so many faculty, and the world is really your oyster.
It's a special place, with a pretty new hospital. We opened in 2017. It's one of, I think, the most beautiful hospitals, children's hospitals in the world. Taking residents to these cases is one of the most fun parts of our job. They get a tremendous amount of operative time under the microscope, the pediatric service, which I think is very special for the hand-eye coordination. And part of my philosophy is really getting them to be more autonomous, to empower them, to take control and take a lead role, which is the first time they really start doing that, to start owning the case. And that's why we're here, is really to train the next generation of leaders.
Culture is what defines a program. And when I think about our program, the first word I think about is family. From the moment you start here at Stanford, you're going to make lifelong friends and bonds, not only with your co-residents, but with the faculty and staff. Our culture at Stanford is really one of respect, collegiality, inclusiveness, and a safe culture. We truly treat our residents as junior colleagues.
This culture is highly innovative and entrepreneurial. Our faculty, residents, postdoctoral fellows, both clinically and academically, are some of the most innovative and collaborative that I've ever seen. I still love my job. I've been at Stanford for 46 years. I came here as a medical student, graduate student, did my residency here, and then came on faculty. I've been chair of the department for almost a quarter of a century. Another unique aspect of our program, I think, is the emphasis on well-being and health of the residents. We have very much put efforts into making this a friendly program. It's really a family-oriented program. A last unique component of this program, and one that I'm very proud of, is our diversity. We now have one of the highest percentage, if not the highest percentage, of women and underrepresented minorities in the department. 33% of our faculty are women or other underrepresented minorities, and 30% of our residents the same, women or other underrepresented minorities.
I always stress that the number one reason why you would want to do a Stanford residency is because of the culture at Stanford. It is very nurturing, and I can't say that for many programs. It takes time to build a culture, and Stanford's culture has been built for years, and the culture is collaborative, supportive, and trying to get you to do your best. It's not punitive, it's never discouraging, it's always encouraging and trying to be positive.
The culture of this place is certainly one of kindness, certainly one of balance and creativity, and sort of, when you think about training in neurosurgery, kindness, balance, and creativity are not necessarily the first three things that come to mind in general.
When I think of Stanford and the resident culture, I definitely think of how we focus so much time here together at Stanford Hub that we are frequently interconnected. We're thinking about each other. You're very much involved with each other's lives in ways that are both enriching for them as well as yourself. They make you feel like you're part of this really cohesive group that really cares about the emotions and well-being of each other, as well as obviously your success as a resident, taking good care of patients and operating at your best.
I think we're a very great community, family being the ethos of the program, and that's why I chose to come to Stanford. And I would say that I'm not disappointed.
I have tremendous respect for our residents. They are amazing and talented and gifted people, but they also have the biggest hearts.
Wonderful.
They work so hard. They support each other well, and this is why I enjoy working here. And I've been watching the residents grow all these years, and they are all wonderful people.
My first month of call was on nights by myself. It's kind of weird thinking that you're the only neurosurgeon in an entire 3 hospitals. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of power in a way too. And I remember one of my first weeks, I had one night where we had 2 patients being transferred, and one on the adult side and one on the pediatric side, and they both needed external ventricular drain placements. I've never done a pediatric one to begin with, but our fellow was there, and she was there when the patient arrived at midnight and was intubated for the procedure. She was really helpful in giving me pointers and being right by my side for that. And then shortly after that was done, I came over to the adult side and had to put in another drain on a patient that was transferred here to our adult side. So that was one of the busier nights.
Residents are always looking out for each other. People really care about how you're doing both as a resident and as a person, and I think that really shows. And I think that's something that's very special about the program. I think it's what I appreciate most about Stanford.
When I came here for my interview, I was struck by the culture here. Honestly, I saw how the residents interacted with each other, and I felt that knowing how tough residency was going to be, I knew I wanted to be somewhere where I would be supported by my co-residents, and that I could, when not at work, know that I had a great group of people that I could always hang out with and explore the area.
Coming to Stanford, you would actually be part of an incredibly inclusive environment, one that will respect you, respect your diversity, respect what you bring to the table, honor that, and train you in a way that reflects all that you do that's unique, rather than trying to fit you into a particular mold.
I think honestly, if you really care about neurosurgery and you're interested and you're excited, then you're very likely to fit in here. Our resident class doesn't look at all the same, whether that's personality, color, race, background, anything at all like that. We're all pretty different. Same with our interest within neurosurgery. I think one thing that is pretty unanimous is how interested we are with neurosurgery and how hard we're willing to work to progress within the field. But ultimately, we all care about our patients.
See you. I'm good.
I am very committed and love taking care of patients, and one of the main reasons that I'm stepping down as chair after 25 years is to be able to devote more time to my clinical practice, which is busier than it's ever been in my entire life, devote more time to teaching residents, and devote more time to translational research. I've been very involved recently in trying to move stem cell therapy, as an example, from the lab into the clinical arena, and we're seeing signs that this is going to be successful. We are very fortunate to have recruited one of our former residents, Mike Lim, who finished here 13 or 14 years ago, went to Johns Hopkins, built a huge practice and a very successful academic career. He's also a surgeon scientist. He's a neuro-oncology brain tumor specialist, particularly with a focus on immunology. And we are all delighted that he will be starting here as chair.
She looks like she's got a game face on that we talked about. She's smiling but serious.
It's a very innovative place. You know, I think everything that we're doing here is relatively novel. I think we aspire to be leaders in the field in that way. Many times our residents also take a lead in that. You know, I look at my trainees, but also my residents as partners in our research and whatever endeavor we're taking on. And I look to some of our residents to help be a leader in this way. I think that's a really important feature when trying to identify the best candidate for a program. Is this somebody that's going to come and make our department better?
I think at Stanford, having so many schools that are so highly ranked with just brilliant minds coming together is unique. And I think we take advantage of that. To come here and not take advantage of that is crazy. You don't come to Stanford unless you really want the full package. You really want to come here because you think you can be a leader and really take this to the next level. And when you leave Stanford, no question, you are a leader in that area. That doesn't happen easily, and you have to want that. And that energy and excitement is really the type of resident that we're looking for.
You know, I'm very empathetic to the fourth-year medical students applying into neurosurgery this year. It's really unfortunate that you're unable to visit and rotate at these wonderful places. But I would pay careful mind into the experience of the residents at that program, as well as the overall culture and feel that you get of the programs. But for me, it really came down to a gut feeling. And I just really felt like I fit in here at Stanford.
I am doing super.
I encountered some of the greatest teachers I've ever had the privilege of meeting. It felt like everyone's on your side. I felt like that month I learned a lot about neurosurgery, but I also learned a lot about the kind of doctor, the surgeon I wanted to be. One of the most important things to me was how I grew as a person, I think, and how I wanted to be the kind of physician I saw during my sub-I at Stanford.